Hello there, interwebs. I am the Bechtloff, and this is, of course, my podcast. And apologies in advance if my throat is scratchy or you hear me clear my throat or something. I think I'm getting a cold or something. I've had a sore throat all day. But still wanted to do the podcast. And I guess the first thing to talk about is, as always lately, Gamergate. I actually got an email from a listener past day or so. My last podcast, I said, I was getting kind of tired of Gamergate. I was getting tired of talking about it because I don't even know what to say. I don't know what to add anymore. And he was giving me, oh, you gotta keep fighting, oh, don't give up, and he was right, but like I said, I don't necessarily have something to add at this point. But when this whole thing started, when it was still the Quinspiracy, I remember early on, very early on, right after Internet Aristocrat's first Quinspiracy video, right after that hit, the day after, just chatting with my friend about it, and I remember in the air, I could feel it. I could feel a shift change in everything. I could feel that this had changed things. This had Arini was on, or I was on his, or he was on mine. I don't remember. But I was talking with Arini, and he called it a shilling point. I think that was the proper term. Like in a can of Pepsi, where the imperfection in the bottle or the can is where the carbon dioxide comes together and forms a little bubble on the side. And that's what this was. This whole thing started with Zoe Quinn's boyfriend bitching about her being a whore. That was the chilling point. And I remember thinking right after the Quinspiracy, and saying to my buddy, and I think I even said it in one of these videos, I was very optimistic, and I still am, but I was very optimistic right away. There was a change. Everyone that was before then fence sitting or being silent had woken up, was speaking up. The things had changed, and I could feel it. I could feel something very positive. I could feel the momentum on our side, and it's just kept moving. It's just kept moving. It's not dying down. It's not going away. And mighty internet empires, these people can't. They're running. They're hiding. They're scared. There's not enough white knights and block buttons in the world to save them. And everything they do just makes it worse for them. And they're too dense and brainwashed to even know that. And it's just gorgeous. These SJWs and these feminists, it used to be if you brought up anything within geek culture, within gaming sites, in any of these forums that was remotely off of the liberal plantation, off the liberal beaten path, remotely quote unquote right wing, libertarian, what have you, and I mean remotely, more even moderate. Oh, you're an MRA, and they would tar and feather you and ban you and just dogpiling you, call you names, and they can't anymore. They can't ignore us. They can't. It's so wonderful. Pardon me. So, like I said, I don't necessarily have a lot to add. I've listened to a lot of live streams these last couple days because there's been shit tons of them. I listened to a few with my friend Jennifer Dahl, who's been on my podcast a couple of times, and God bless her, she's been quite the trooper. I know she has a hard time talking for long lengths of time due to her disabilities. And she's out there fighting. A couple of these, she was wrecking some SJW buttholes. J-Dog getting it done. It's been wonderful. It's been amazing. I can't believe how well this has gone. I can't believe that we're finally taking geek culture back from these people. It's just wonderful. So yeah, I don't have a lot to add. I feel obligated to at least touch on it every podcast. But there's really nothing to add. I mean, it's just... we're just marching on more. And like I said last time, what am I going to say to any of you anti-Gamergate people at this point? You're either stupid or evil. I don't know what to say to you anymore. If I have to explain to you why my fighting for integrity is bad, I don't know what the fuck to say to you. You know, call me a fucking conspiracy theorist or whatever the hell. Or MRA. Go to hell. Alright? Just eat a dick. Speaking of conspiracy theories, because that's what they love to throw around us. And I love that, by the way. Pointing out obvious connections, proven connections, is a conspiracy theorist. I was thinking about this because I noticed on Lindsay Ellis's Twitter today that she was, I don't know, Adam Baldwin, who came out in favor of Gamergate, he had some sort of kind of conspiracy theorist tweet about Obama and the Ebola thing. And my personal feeling is the way Obama's handling the Ebola outbreak has more to do with his complete incompetence than any quote-unquote malicious intent. But, and I'll touch on this in a minute as I talk about conspiracy theories, I don't necessarily rule out that the people in power would do it. I just, more often than not, I lay things at the feet of their incompetence and their maliciousness. But I don't doubt their maliciousness. Barack Obama is a horrible man. And before you think I'm some right-wing shill, George W. Bush was a horrible man. Being a soulless monster has become damn near a criteria for reaching the tops of political power in the West. But on these conspiracy theories, the 9/11 truthers is a perfect example of my mixed feelings towards these guys. I don't believe 9/11 was an inside job. I believe it was the direct result of our foreign policy of hitting hornets' nests with sticks for several decades. You know, blowback. And that's not some term that was coined by a bunch of peace-loving hippies. The CIA coined that term, right? So yeah, I think 9/11 was kind of our fault, but not in the government planned it way. But when people... the thing that always upsets me is when one of these 9/11 truthers is like, I think that the jet fuel couldn't have burned hot enough to melt the steel. I'm not a fucking engineer. I don't really know. I don't. I don't know. That's interesting, but I can't confirm. Whatever. But they bring up that point, and I'm like, okay, well that's interesting. I don't really know what to do with that. I don't really know how to confirm or deny that. But okay, it's interesting. But anti-truthers, you see this particularly more on the neocon quote-unquote right, but more now on the left because they're in power, so that's how that works. They get offended by the very idea. They get offended by the idea. And that's what upsets me about the quote-unquote, I guess the anti-conspiracy theorist people. It's one thing to discount a conspiracy theory because you looked at it and there's no evidence. It's another thing to discount a conspiracy theory merely because it's a conspiracy theory. Conspiracies do fucking happen. Alright? Powerful people get together in secret and plot shit. That happens. Alright? Governments do false flags. Our government has been caught in false flags in the past. You know, Gulf of Tonkin and that kind of shit. Getting back to this Gamergate thing. We've seen the fucking email chains, alright? They were literally conspiring together. It's not a conspiracy theory at this point. I guess in the technical, in the way gravity's a fucking theory, I guess. But it seems to fucking pan out every time, drop something, it falls. They were actually fucking conspiring. And conspiracy theorists has just become this dirty little thing that these small-minded, snarky fucking cunts, these little fucking R-type liberals, hide behind. And you know what? R-type fucking neocons, too. Hide behind so that they don't have to face something they don't know how to fit in their little fucking worldview. Or they don't have to actually counter-argument. So they don't fucking like, you're just a conspiracy theorist, tinfoil hat. You know what? These days, those motherfuckers turn out to be right more often than they're wrong anymore. Anyone who's paying attention. Like, look, I'm not a particularly big fan of Alex Jones. I'm really not. The guy could find a conspiracy in a ham sandwich. But you know what? He's more accurate than Fox News or MSNBC. If those guys get Fs, I guess he gets a D-. And again, not a fan of him. But, damn it. Lost my train of thought there. But yeah, conspiracies do happen. Alright? They do. Doesn't mean everything's a fucking conspiracy. But damn it, when you have proof that people are conspiring together, then yeah, there was a conspiracy. Jeez. It's so fucking frustrating even trying to talk to these fucking people. Even trying to dissect their arguments, because it's just dishonest. It's just dishonesty. There's nothing else. You're a conspiracy theorist, tinfoil hat, Go fuck yourself. I'd rather be paranoid. I'd rather be paranoid and cautious against people in power than be openly trusting sheep heading right for the slaughter. Jeez. It's so fucking frustrating because they're not. It's like I said. What do you even say to them? They're just going to twist every fucking thing. Yeah, I guess it's like that Ben Shapiro guy said, who I'm not a big fan of. I like a lot of Ben Shapiro stuff, but I don't know. He's kind of an obnoxious twit at times. He just kind of personally rubs me the wrong way a little bit. And it's not to disparage him. If you're a fan of him or something, don't go telling me how awesome he is in the comments. Look, I like a lot of his stuff, but I can only take him in small doses. He just grates on me just a touch, just on a personal level. It's probably not even fair to him. He just kind of reminds me of some people I don't like. But Ben Shapiro once said, like, if you're going to debate a leftist, and I mean these hardcore fucking head in the damn sand leftists, if you're going to debate them, don't bother unless it's for an audience or your own amusement. Because you're not going to convince them. There's no... They long ago sold their soul. And moving on. Speaking of that pseudo geek, hipster, feminist twat, Lindsay Ellis. Which I almost hate to do. Because her fucking White Knight fans, every time I mention her, they're like, oh, you're an unhealthy obsession with her, and you're secretly in love with her, and you want... Fuck you. Fuck you. That's so annoying. Unhealthy obsession. That's another thing. Once you're nailing them to the wall, once you're really chipping away at their armor of bullshit, then their fucking fans show up and like, are they like, oh, why are you picking on me? It's unnatural obsession. That they're losing when they say that too. But anyway, speaking of Lindsay Ellis, I saw an interesting couple of tweets of her, maybe a week ago it was. And I've seen some other feminists say this, but hers were the ones that stuck in my mind. There's a song out there that's really big. If you listen to top 40 stations, you heard it probably perhaps more than you'd like to. But that All About That Bass song by Meghan Trainor. And it's a cute song. I kind of like it. Getting a little overplayed at this point, but I kind of like it. In theory, this song should be something feminists and SJWs are all fucking about. Because it's basically about, like, I'm not fat, I'm curvy, body positivity, borderline fat acceptance stuff. Now, I'm not necessarily bothered by it, even though I don't like fat acceptance. I don't like that, And I need to lose some weight myself, all right? But I'm not going to walk around saying it's fine, I don't need to lose some weight. No, I need to lose some weight, and I'm working on that. But fat acceptance is just fucking bad news. It's just making excuses for people who are... And the people who walk around with fat acceptance, they're not out of shape. They need to lose a little weight. Most of those are like, holy shit, how are you still walking? Like, you don't even bend your... Oh, pardon me. You don't even bend your knees when you walk, that kind of fat. You know what I mean? Like, I'm out of shape, but I still bend my knees when I walk. I can still see my dick quite easily. All right? But getting back to the song, it's... I mean, I want to be, like, irritated with the fat acceptance method, but it's... message. But it's more just for real curvy girls. And yes, feminists, there's a difference. Yeah, there are certain men that like curvy girls. But what you're saying is curvy isn't curvy, alright? Meghan Trainor is curvy, alright? Maybe she's a little too big, but, I mean, I'd still get on that. She's pretty nice. But what feminists are talking about when they say real men like curvy girls, they're talking about, like, fucking that chicken Mike and Molly, alright? Nobody wants that, alright? But anyways, it's about all this body positivity, like, stuff. And so, in theory, feminists and SJWs should like it. They should fucking be all about it. This is fantastic. And they're bitching about it. And I wish I could find the tweets that Lindsay Ellis did so I can link to them in the description. But that would involve me having to comb through her fucking Twitter, and I don't particularly feel like going for a swim in the sewer. Feel free to do it yourself. It's maybe like a week ago. But she's basically was complaining that... Oh, man, I almost wish I had the tweets in front of me. She was complaining that, well, it's great that Meghan has body positivity and accepts how she is. But her body positivity is still based on the idea that boys would find her attractive. Like lyrics in the song, I got that, what the fuck, I got all the right junk in all the right places. I got that boom boom that all the boys shake and all the boys chase. So Meghan Trainor's song is about that fact that, yeah, she's not quote unquote model skinny, but she's still got all that stuff the boys like, and that's A-okay. Well, that's not A-okay with a feminist. Because holy crap, if boys are fucking liking something, then it can't be alright. And it just goes to show you that these feminists, they don't fucking care, ultimately, about body positivity. They don't care about anything that's fucking good and true. Alright? A woman feeling beautiful and feeling like men desire her is a good fucking thing. And here's the deal. A woman being beautiful is at least physically beautiful. No, I'm not telling inner beauty. No, I mean a woman being physically beautiful is based on men desiring her. That's what it's fucking based on, alright? That's what... She wants to be beautiful to men. Unless I guess she's a fucking lesbian or something, but even then, half the time it's... Well, lesbians don't tend to care about looks as much as... But even then, at least in theory, it's the same fucking thing. You want to be hot so that you're desirable to the people you want to fuck. There's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Meghan Trainor is singing about the fact that she's happy that boys find her attractive even though she's not the quote-unquote ideal. And a feminist wants to fucking find fault with that because, well, you shouldn't care what the boys think. Of course she cares what the boys think. She's a heterosexual woman. She's supposed to care what the boys think. Just as the boys are supposed to care what the girls think. That's how fucking civilization happens. That's how we get together and we fucking mate and we make more fucking people and we live together ideally and grow old together and fucking hold hands, watch the sunset when we die at the old age of 80 or whatever. Having left a legacy, even though men and women are fucking different as night and day, and by all accounts are completely unfit to fucking live together, let alone actually be true partners and make a family and a life. We still do it because we want to, because we know we make each other better. We know our fucking differences complement each other, and we fucking care what the other thinks. You're supposed to fucking care. You fucking feminists. You didn't care what a man thinks. No, ladies, you fucking should. You fucking should. And men, you should fucking care what women think. You should fucking want to be the thing the other person needs. That's what fucking love is. Oh, I wish I might even put the tweet in the if I can find, I might even put it in the description because it's so fucking ridiculous. I think the exact tweet was something like, you know, skinny bitches or fat bitches, it don't matter as long as men find us attractive. Go fuck yourself, Lindsay. Go. It's just broken fucking people. That's all this SJW feminist shit is anymore. It's just broken. Like the other day I saw a news story where feminists were protesting Hooters, right? And I thought to myself, you know, it isn't anymore, because they're protesting Hooters because ugly and fat bitches, I guess, can't work at Hooters, because the whole point of Hooters is that it's hot waitresses. Now, a lot of restaurants hire basically only hot waitresses, but Hooters is out fucking front about it. Like, that's our deal. You know, our food kind of sucks, but hey, the waitresses are always going to be hot. That's their market. That's their niche. Now, I don't particularly like to eat at Hooters. You know, but some people do. And of course, feminists are protesting it. Hey, it's objectified. Me. And I thought, I was like, and it's beginning to become crystal clear to more and more people. You're not protesting this because you love fairness. You're protesting this because you're so fucking broken that you just hate beauty. Because you're ugly. That's why. And not just on the outside, although you usually are, but on the fucking inside, you're ugly as fucking sin. You're ugly as the 10th level of hell. The fucking 10th, the 87th level of hell, alright? We're making whole new fucking levels for you. You're that fucking ugly, and you know it. You fucking know it. And rather than fucking take that ugliness to the blood of the lamb and try and be fucking better, no, you want to be crabs in the bucket, you want to pull everybody else down. You broken fucking monsters. But the other thing that struck me, getting back to the Meghan Trainor song, is this is why, and maybe this is why Gamergate happened. Maybe this is why it finally broke. Maybe this was part of the reason behind the quote-unquote shielding point. What else struck me about it was the moving goalpost of it all. Again, this song is exactly what they, at least a couple years ago, would have claimed they fucking wanted. Body positivity, all that good shit. Now it's not good enough, because there's still fault to be found in it. They're always going to find something wrong with it. They're always going to be moving the goalposts. They don't have a complaint. They have an endless series of complaints. And that's why you're a damn fool if you try to cater to them. You're a damn fool. They're never going to be satisfied. They're never going to be happy. Their souls are too broken and black and disgusting to be fucking capable of satisfaction and happiness. So don't ever think you can cater to them and win. You can't ever win. You can't ever score because the goalpost always moves. It always moves. You'll never be able to keep up with it. If you are one of these fucking pussies, and I know some people like this who just don't want to rock the boat. Just want to go along to get along. Just want to be like, oh, well, let's try and be sensitive with them. They're not really SJWs. They don't fall into that bullshit. But they're trying to reach out to them. They're trying to be fair. They're trying to be inclusive. They're trying to... No, knock that shit off. Because you know what? You're never going to be able to keep up. If you think, well, I got like friends and I got like a job and they could dox me, they could no. Don't ever think you're going to be able to keep up with it. You might as well just fucking... You might as well just go all in. You're never going to be able to keep up with them. You're never going to be able to satisfy them. Stop fucking pandering to them. Just stop. Alright, moving on. Different topic. Of course, it's October now. And that means it's Halloween month. And I loves me some Halloween. Halloween's fun on the bun. I'm a bit of a horror fan too. I wouldn't say I'm like a huge, crazy horror fan. I mean, I'm not to the level I am like, say, superheroes. But I am a pretty big horror fan. And I want to take a few moments to talk about some of my favorite horror franchises. Probably my favorite, and I'm not even going to necessarily say it's the best one out there, but it's my personal favorite, is the Nightmare on Elm Street series. I love the first one is just fantastic. It's one of the classics. And the sequels are at times pretty rough, but there's just something about Robert Englund, the actor who plays Freddy. There's something about his performance. He just brings this manic energy to it, and it's always cracking these stupid, corny jokes and shit while he's doing it. But it's like the Joker. It just brings a certain energy to it, and I just adore it. Even the bad ones, like Freddy's Dead, is probably the worst of the fucking bunch. I think it's 6. I think it's part 6, mate. Yeah, because New Nightmare was 7. Yeah, so Freddy's Dead, it would be the 6th one, and it's a train wreck. It's a fucking disaster. I'm not sure. I haven't heard this, but I suspect it's a lot of times in Hollywood, especially like sequels or remakes or shit like that. They have like trying to revive a franchise that's been dormant for a couple years or probably been flogged to death. A lot of times, several different people are charged with writing the script, and then some jackass in the studio ends up basically sewing multiple scripts together into one movie. This happens more often than you would think. If there's like a sequel like late in a movie series or a reboot or something like that just feels like it's going all over the place, it's probably one of these Franken scripts. And I would suspect, I don't know this for sure or whatever, but I would suspect that Freddy's Dead is one of those. Because there's lots of points in that movie where the tone just really shifts. Like when they get back to the town. I can't even really go into the plot because the plot is so fucking stupid. Billy Zane's sister is in it though. I forget what the hell her name is, but she plays Freddy. Well, I guess I'm spoiling this. She plays a character we find out throughout, in the middle of it, is actually Freddy's long-lost daughter. Which, again, feels like that's part of the... I feel like there was like a really retarded script and a really good script that got sewn together into this Franken script. And I feel like the Freddy's daughter aspect was probably from the better script. And then the part that had Roseanne and Tom Arnold in it is from the retarded one. But you know what? Even like the terrible Freddy's Dead, I can still sit down and watch because Robert Englund just steals the show. What a performance in that role. And they did a reboot of it here recently with fuck it, I can't remember the actor's name, but it's the guy who played Watchmen. I'm sorry, guy who played Rorschach in Watchmen. He played Freddy, and it was interesting. I really thought I would hate it. I just hated the idea of it practically. Like, oh, it's not Freddy, sitting there with my arms crossed, all pouting. But I gave it a good watch. I gave it an honest try, and I liked it. Is it as good as the original? No. But it's decent. It's certainly better than it could have been. So yeah, I would say pardon me, I would say it's worth watching the remake. If you've never seen any of them, it's especially worth watching the original. And I'm a big fan of Freddy vs. Jason. I really like that movie. I wouldn't say it's a horror movie. It's almost more an action movie at that point because there's not that many really scary elements, but it's still a pretty damn good movie. I really liked it. I thought it paid good homage to both franchises. Yeah, I got a real kick out of it. It's probably my favorite Jason movie. I'm not a huge fan of the Jason movies, but yeah, Freddy vs. Jason is fun. The first Nightmare on Elm Street, and then I would skip right to Nightmare on Elm Street 3 and watch that one. That's probably the best of the sequels. 2 is odd. It's not bad, but it's odd. It doesn't quite fit in the series. Freddy's powers are different. It's kind of a different MO, and it's odd. 4, I can't even really remember the particulars of 4. They bleed together. 5, if I recall correctly, was called The Dream Child. And Freddy was able to regain his foothold into everyone's dreams and regain his power through... there was a girl with kind of psychic powers from one of the previous movies, and now she was pregnant with a kid. And he was able to do it through the kid, like the unborn kid. And I often joke that movie is just a commercial for abortion. Because if she would have just gotten an abortion, she'd have just taken care of the fucking kid that Freddy was. It's so terrible. It was a kid, whatever. Well, it would have solved the problem, and it would have been like 20 people that wouldn't have been dead. But yeah, I like the Freddy movies a lot. Another really interesting horror movie series is the Hellraiser movies. With Pinhead and the box, you opened it, we came, and the Cenobites and all that good stuff. I really like this movie series, and yet I freely admit a lot of them are very bad. A lot of them are weak, and some of them are downright terrible. And I've been meaning to write reviews, like really in-depth reviews of these movies for the longest time. Probably since like last October at least. Because it's so deep in concept. Like the concept and the mythos behind Hellraiser are brilliant. And they have so much to say about like the dark roads, the hedonism it leads you down, and the duality of pleasure and pain, and what is the nature and yes, even ultimate boredom of sin. There's so much to say in these movies. Really, even the worst of these movies, as far as I'm concerned, has more theological depth in it than most of the Christian movies you see out there right now. The worst Hellraiser movie has more theological depth than a dozen fireproofs or courageous. What is the plural of courageous? I don't know. Courageous is. Or a dozen, damn near any Christian movie in the last 20 years with the exception of The Passion. Hellraiser has more theological depth in it. Any of the Hellraiser movies. For those of you that don't know the Hellraiser series, the basic idea is there's like this puzzle box. And if you solve the puzzle, it'll summon demons, and these demons will drag you to fucking BDSM hell. That's basically it. The demons are called Cenobites, and they're not even really demons. Most of them are humans who, at one point or another, open the box themselves. And they go down to BDSM hell, where you're getting, like, fish hooks put in your nipples and shit, because they get you off. I'm making it sound worse than it is. a lot of the characters in these movies that are driven to find the box, they know what it is and they want to open it, and it's because they you know, they've blown through all the hookers and blow there is. You know, it's about that road that hedonism takes you down, where it's just, you need the new sensation, you need the novelty, you need to explore the pain and the pleasure and all that. It's about the dark roads that takes you down. It's about how sin gets boring. There was a great Patton Oswalt comedy bit a while ago where he said, imagine the most fucked up sexual fantasy you've ever had, right? The just gnarliest thing that you probably never even knew, but you jerked off to it a few times, you know? And there's a magazine devoted just to that. And these days, I guess it would be, there's a website devoted just to that. And you know, there's a staff of people got to crank that thing out, and they could not be more bored and distracted by the thing you think is so dark and dangerous. Which, again, why isn't atheist comedian Patton Oswalt spewing more theological depth than half the preachers you ever see on TV? Fucking churchianity in its sorry state these days. But that's basically what Hellraiser is about. It's about that boredom of sin and the dark roads it leads you down. And Hellraiser 1 is pretty good, but I find it a little slow. Pardon me. The pace is a little slow. Hellraiser 2 is decent. After Hellraiser 2, they stopped numbering them, and they're almost like standalone movies. Like, they still the Cenobites in the box, but it's almost always completely different characters involved in it. You know, different people finding the box or what have you. Some of them are really bad. The best one, I think, in the series, though, is one called Hellseeker, I think it is. You know what? Hang on. I'm gonna go look at my shelf right now. And yes, Hellseeker. Lord knows if any of that's picked up from across the room. But yes, Hellseeker is the name of it. I think it's the 5th one. Don't quote me on that. It's got... If you ever watch like the first season of Law & Order SVU, you immediately recognize the actor who plays the main character. And it's like this detective. And it's this like he's basically getting mind-fucked and haunted by these Cenobites after like a car accident. And I don't even want to tell you anything else about it, because if you're going to watch it, I went into it blind and was just blown away by the twists and turns of the plot, and I think you should too. So if you're going to get into Hellraiser, either start with 1 or Hellseeker. Start with part 1 or Hellseeker. I would actually recommend Hellseeker, but if you absolutely have to start at the beginning, start with 1. Damn good movie series, even if a lot of it is really bad and weak. I don't know how else to put it. It's worth seeing, if nothing else, because of the depth of the concept. And again, some of the movies are really good. Some of them not so much. But still, you're looking for some horror movies this October, definitely you should pick up Hellraiser. I started to sound like Rayman for a second there for some reason. Definitely need to pick up Hellraiser. Alright, moving on. One other thing I wanted to talk about. If being a comic book fan, I know that you might not, if you're not a huge comic, but Disney bought Marvel a couple of years. Bought Marvel Comics. And since then, Disney has been producing in-house the cartoons based on Marvel Comics. And these are weird. I shouldn't even say weird. There's an odd Disney-like quality to them that I don't necessarily care for. And it's not that they're bad cartoons. There are 3 of them that are out right now I can think of. There's Ultimate Spider-Man, Avengers Assemble, and Hulk Agents of Smash. And I don't even know if the Hulk one's still going on. They're not bad, but it's just like Ultimate Spider-Man. There was a Spider-Man cartoon on right before Disney bought Marvel, really. Spectacular Spider-Man, that was better. It had a bit more of a questionable art style, in my opinion, but writing and story and character-wise, it was probably the best Spider-Man cartoon ever. And again, Avengers Assemble. Right before that, what was canceled was a show called Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, which was fantastic, and is probably the best Marvel animated series of all time. And it was replaced by Avengers Assemble, which tries to be more like the movie, and it's got a very Disney-like feel to its art. I don't know how else to put it. I'm not even a huge animation buff, but I'm enough of one to kind of get the feel. Hulk Agents of Smash is kind of dumb. I think so. I'm not even a big fan of Ultimate Spider-Man, because it forces him into this kind of team. I mean, I don't know. If you're interested in Marvel superheroes, maybe seen the movies and all, I would recommend checking out on DVD or Netflixing them or whatever. Check out Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, the animated series. That's a damn good cartoon. And even a jaded adult can sit and watch it and enjoy it. Spectacular Spider-Man, you might need to be a Spider-Man fan for, because like I said, the animation is a little... The art style in it can be a little off-putting, I think, at least. But, if you got at all interested in the Avengers from the movies or something, I would say check out that cartoon. It's pretty... Earth's Mightiest Heroes is pretty damn good. Avengers Assemble is a big nothing. I mean, it's not even bad, it's just there. But this kind of discourages me a bit. I was sort of happy when Disney bought Marvel, but there's certain moves they've done with it that I'm not really happy with some of the animation choices they've done. I don't know. Yeah, and I only bring this up because there are some rumors now that Disney might buy Time Warner. And they're just rumors at this point, who knows. But that would give them control over DC Comics, which would be... At first, I want to say that would be cool, because, there could be... I doubt they would combine the DC and the Marvel heroes into one universe, but they would be able to cross over with no big deal. I mean, in superhero comics, people cross universes all the time. There's... People have dimensional portals and other sort of bullshit that allows you to do that sometimes. People visit alternate universes all the time. So, the Justice League and the Avengers could, in theory, visit each other whenever. It would almost be like the multiple Earths DC had back in the Silver Age. And maybe Disney would have the good sense to undo this New 52 horseshit. That's just garbage. It's just garbage. Which actually brings me to something else I want to talk about that I almost forgot. Some more interesting speculators, because DC's reboot is all about appealing to speculators. That's half their fucking... The only people buying DC books at this point are, like, for the most part, it's people that have been reading DC for the longest time and are sticking it out. There's some... I know a guy in his, 50s or 60s who's been buying Superman since he was, a teenager. Just loves Superman. And he still buys Superman, new books, and he fucking hates the reboot. But he just doesn't want to give it up. He doesn't want to give up on it. And the other extreme is just the speculators who are buying shit because it's gonna go up in value. And last year, they did Villains Month, where all the books turned into villain one shots, and they had 3D covers with them. Oh wow! And the covers look great. I will give them credit. If the books didn't suck balls, I probably would have been excited about the cool looking covers. But unfortunately, the covers are just, wrapping paper around a dog turd. Well, this past month in September, DC did the 3D covers again for an event, a stunt, really. And it didn't go over that well. I haven't checked the numbers, but again, I've asked people who own comic shops, and I own a comic book store, sort of. I own a little stand at an indoor flea market selling them, and we had some of them. They were not moving. They really weren't. And that's the problem. And this is what DC needs to get through its fucking head. This is what the comic book industry as a whole needs to get through its fucking head. DC's just the worst offender right now. Did we learn nothing from the 90s already? Alright, speculators are not something you appeal to. Alright, because first of all, it's rapidly diminishing returns on this crap. Fool me once, shame on you, alright? all those books that people were scrounging and trying to get, those villain books last year. People were scrounging and fighting over each other and bidding wars on eBay, and some of them going for like $50 when they weren't even a fucking month old. Now all those books are like $5, maybe 10 on some of them. You know, the speculators are fucking shitheads, but they're not that stupid. They do learn eventually, and then they leave, and the fucking bubble bursts. I've been meaning to do a podcast on the DC reboot for a while. I gotta do a full one, maybe even next time. It's bad. I mean, there are times I look around at the comic book industry and things are going pretty decent now. You know, superheroes are big shit right now. Comic book sales are on the upswing, but it's bringing in the speculators, and man, do they hurt things in the long run. They really do. Last thing, I guess. Usually try to end these podcasts on an up note. So, I guess, what the hell retro games have I been playing lately? 'Cause that's what I do. Oh, I got Hyrule Warriors, and that's a lot of fun. I haven't cracked into it as much as I'd like, but it's, I never played Dynasty Warriors, so it's an interesting little change of pace for me from most Zelda games. The prices in the retro game market is rough. I've been meaning to get an N64 for a while, but most of the good games on that I'd want are pretty damn pricey. Pretty damn pricey. Damn. I just got an NES, and that's pretty good. Oh, I got, and I think I mentioned this in past podcasts, but I got considerably further in it. I got Zelda Outlands, the fan-made game, and I've gotten a lot further. It is a lot of fun. It really is. These fan-made like kind of homebrew things are they're really something you got to check out if you get into retro game. Now they're expensive if you want to get a physical copy like me, but not so much if you just want to download it on your PC. So I really recommend checking out some of those. So, Zelda Outlands and Sonic Mega Mix are two. And I think I said these last podcasts, but fuck it, I'll say it again. Those are two you should check out. I really enjoyed both of them. Well, I'm basically rambling here, filling up time. So, thanks for listening, folks. Bechtloff out.